And here we are. Good evening, everybody. Good day. Salamu alaikum. Hello, hola, wherever you are in the world. We'd like to welcome you to today's show. We've been saying that artists and creatives are really the sweetness, and I call it the burfi. I'm sure you know, Archana, what burfi is.
Yeah.
So it is sweet, the sweetness, the sweet meat that we as Indians eat when there's a celebration, when there's a wedding. Can we see the picture of a burfi, please, Justine? So if we can just show you all what burfi looks like, and you see it has pistachios on it, it's the sweet milk, it's condensed milk, in fact, that is really delicious. And so for today's show, we are bringing in some of the most amazing creatives globally, and we want them to tell us about the sweetness of what they produce. And so just as we start, I'd like Justine to show us Jerusalema, which is a clip from a music group in South Africa that has had 14 million hits. Please enjoy.
Jerusalema, ikhaya londoloze, uhambe nami, ungangishilana. Jerusalema, ikhaya lami, londoloze, uhambe nami, ungangishilana. Dawo yami ayikholana, buso wami awukholana. Londoloze, uhambe nami. Dawo yami ayikholana, buso wami awukholana. Londoloze, uhambe nami. Brown yami ayikholana, buso wami awukholana. Ilondoloze, uhambe nami. Brown yami ayikholana, buso wami awukholana. Ilondoloze, uhambe nami. Jerusalema, ikhaya lami, ilondoloze, uhambe nami, ungangishilana. Jerusalema, ikhaya lami, ilondoloze, uhambe nami, ungangishilana. Dawo yami ayikholana.
Thank you, Justine. So we thought it was important for us to really start with something that has got the entire 40 million people around the world excited to start dancing and get us into a different mood. Given the pandemic and the way that things are, Craig, I want to come to you. Craig, are you there? So that we can show your clip and you can tell us a little bit of the work that you are doing. I think the important thing around this is how are you, where you sit, trying to bring some creativity. So I'm going to go to Craig's clip.
Just inspired today.
Wow, Craig. I see you're
Wow.
at the piano. You were going to play something live?
No. I was just in the room.
I thought you're getting ready for me over there.
That's funny.
So Craig, we met during Mama Winnie Mandela's funeral. You had traveled all the way to South Africa, but you've been coming back and forth to South Africa for a while. Tell us about the work that you do and then the connection with South Africa and the music.
Always looking for great ways to collaborate with. Can you hear me?
Connection is unstable.
Always looking for great ways to collaborate. Our African.
We can hear you, yes.
I think
We can't hear you. Yeah.
Hear me. Okay, let me see if I can.
yeah, it's a bit soft.
There's something here. I may have to do it from the phone, guys.
Okay. Was that on your phone? Maybe that's a better.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yep.
Perfect. Yeah.
Much.
Okay.
Very much.
As I was saying, I love going to Africa first and foremost, and I love collaborating. And so what we're doing is we're in the music space, but we're also in the tech space, and so we're always just trying to find a way to connect those dots. Now, initially when I was asked to go to South Africa, it was really, when I was asked to go to the funeral, it was about, playing the piano and doing something in tribute to Miss Winnie Mandela. But as we continued to go, we developed some really important partnerships over there. And we already had a partnership with Microsoft. So we were doing some stuff, trying to sort through some things with the Mandela Foundation in that space. And we're still working on that as we speak. But we also have a company called RapPlug, which is an online subscription-based model, which basically connects the hip hop and R&B and urban community all together. And it's kind of like the LinkedIn for R&B and hip hop music. And so a lot of the people that we know over there are affiliated or they're members or they're subscribers of my app. And so we connect those dots, and then we've gone out there, you know, done things. We've taken T.I. and other artists out there to do performances and stuff. So we just love going. We love spending time there. It's just a great place for what we feel is our home. And it's just a great place to collaborate with our people.
And we're talking about the pandemic in particular and finding ways, which I think is great because you're already online, just the
Right.
way that creatives need to kind of pivot and find a new way. I was teasing Alvin earlier because he's the rich one, but you know,
I am rich.
all the artists are struggling. They're struggling. And, you know, people are freelancers. They have no funds. Theaters are closed. Performances are not taking place. So what is it that you are doing that's making it good and helping creatives?
Well, on our end, I'm really excited about the fact that we were online before COVID, as you know. And so what we've done is we've grown the brand, the part of our company, which is the streaming service. We've grown that exponentially. And now a lot of people are coming to us in partnership to do master classes because a lot of people have to stay home now. So we're tapping into the community, our indigenous community, which is the arts and the creatives and the executives in our industry and the lawyers and the dancers and all that. And we're allowing them to really communicate to our community. And another thing we're doing is we're live streaming a lot of events so that we don't have to pack out a building to get the traction and people can see them. So we have this thing called parking lot concerts here in Atlanta that we're live streaming every weekend. And we've done every rapper. I mean, every weekend we have a big rapper or a big R&B singer out there. And for those who can't make it, we live stream it. So it gives people the sense that they're there without being there. We're partnering with the Recording Academy now for some master classes here in Atlanta and in LA and Miami, and just giving people the ability to see things from their phone around the world. And so I feel like we're doing a service. It's beyond entertainment. I feel like we're educating. We're doing more than just entertainment, but don't get me wrong. At its core, it is about entertainment for me because it's therapeutic. And any opportunity I get to find a way to help, whether it be through entertainment or through master classes, I want to give that back to the community that we serve. And I want to continue to broaden that and create more opportunities overseas, especially in Africa, for my brothers and sisters to see what we're doing here and vice versa, because we need to see what they're doing there. So anytime we get an opportunity to tap in, we want to do that. But yeah, this has been a good pivot for us.
So that's what I think we'll come to you when we get to Sissy Bongile, who is a mega opera singer, but we'll get there in a second. So you need to know about her. I'm going to go first to Brazil, and I'd like us, if we can show the link that we have, Justine, please, on Anna.
Olá a todos e todas, meu nome é Thaís Amor Divino, eu sou a diretora de Motriz. Primeiro eu quero agradecer pelo convite, eu estou extremamente emocionada de estar aqui como pessoa preta, periférica, brasileira, nordestina e baiana. A minha trajetória ela é marcada por 3 filmes, em especial Motriz. Meu primeiro filme tratava da educação, as questões raciais dentro da escola pública. Depois vi Motriz, que trata de afetividade, saudade, solidão da mulher negra, poesia, enfim. E meu último filme, meu recente filme é A Menina Queria Voar, que eu filmei esse ano, que traz a poesia, a literatura, o sonho infantil, né? O elenco principal são 2 crianças negras e que elas se descobrem ali dentro de uma casa, numa periferia aqui de Salvador. Nesse momento de pandemia, está sendo bem conflituoso pensar em projetos pós-pandemia, mas ainda assim resistimos e estamos aqui, né? O meu processo individual, no primeiro momento, foi o choque de entender esse processo, enxergar as dificuldades aqui dentro da periferia, da minha casa, né, que eu não moro só, moro com meu pai, e ver como a gente ia lidar com aquilo ali. E, obviamente, isso interfere diretamente no meu modo de criar e no meu processo criativo, porque a cabeça, né, da gente, o nosso ori, ele precisa estar em paz para a gente poder criar. E no processo de pandemia é muito difícil a gente estar em um momento de paz, principalmente sendo pessoa preta dentro de uma periferia, porque os problemas, eles estão aí. Mas agora, no 4º mês de pandemia, eu estou encontrando um método aí de me cuidar mais, me entender que isso em algum momento vai passar, e quando passar eu preciso estar firme para que meus projetos ganhem força e meus personagens ganhem vida, para que eu possa possibilitar outras pessoas pretas a se enxergarem de uma forma positiva nas telas. O meu trabalho é voltado para a população preta, e então o processo criativo tem sido muito mais lento do que um processo normal sem pandemia, mas ainda assim está acontecendo. Eu tenho reavaliado os meus projetos, vendo a relevância deles pós-pandemia, mudando, reescrevendo. Então, estou num processo mais lento e de reescrita, de pesquisa também, tentando pesquisar mais, aproveitar o tempo para pesquisa, para enriquecer esse projeto e ir reescrevendo aqueles projetos que eu já tinha, pensando na relevância em um novo mundo, né, nesse mundo pós-pandemia. É isso, eu agradeço muito a vocês, estou extremamente honrada, espero que vocês assistam Motriz e que se não assistir, eu posso passar o link. E é isso, muito, muito obrigada. Estou aqui enquanto pessoa preta, periférica, volto a reforçar, periférica, nordestina, e muito, muito, muito obrigada.
That is so beautiful. So, Anna, we were going to show a little link, like a minute. Can we do that, or would you like to talk first? Justin, let's show just a minute from the film. And Keith, we wanted you to see this as well, because we just think from the film point of view, this is quite important. Thanks, Justin.
Mãe? Seu nome? Fala alto.
Nilzabeth Oliveira Santos.
Sem brincadeira.
Nilzabeth Oliveira Santos.
Quantos anos?
51.
Quantos anos você já está aqui em Jordânia?
4 anos.
Você morava onde antes?
Em Salvador.
Nasceu aonde?
Taratim.
Onde fica em Taratim?
Em Minas Gerais. Na região de Bahia.
Quantos filhos você tem?
2.
Como é o nome?
Thaís Graziella.
Thank you, Justine. We just wanted to see a little clip, because I think the relevance between what she was saying. And talk to us about the project, about the work you are doing in particular in Brazil, as a curator, as a film director, as just a Brazilian part of the story of creatives either struggling but finding a way to produce anyway.
Okay, well, first of all, thank you so much for having me here. I'm really glad to be part of it and to be with all of you. I'm actually not a filmmaker. Thais is a filmmaker. She was supposed to be here, but we managed to make this clip so you can get to know her and her work a little bit. She has this lovely, so beautiful film, Motriz, and the Africa Emotion Film Festival has screened it more than once. So it's really lovely. I'm really a big fan of her work. And I really like the way she speaks about her specific place of being a Black filmmaker in Brazil and still managing to do her work, to think about her work, and to make new projects after this pandemic. Yeah. And I mentioned that because it's been really challenging here for us to be dealing with this. Yeah, especially due to this political climate that we are facing now in Brazil that I'm not sure you were aware of. You probably are, because unfortunately we see the news everywhere.
To believe it.
Yeah, unfortunately. So we are actually used to having a federal government that knew how important fundamental culture is, so I come from that generation that understands culture as a field of work and as a big and important layer of our economy. So now we don't have a Ministry of Culture anymore, I mean, just to say the least.
Wow.
So we as producers, as cultural producers and creative people, we are forced to be more creative in different ways, which is not entirely bad, of course, but I'm just very sorry that we have to do it in such circumstances. So actually the pandemic left the artists completely abandoned here in Brazil. So while in so many other countries, they were taken care of, by their government. So what I mean is that the pandemic is just making it worse than it already been for quite a while now. So I am actually lucky enough to have an institutional support here in Brazil, a cultural and educational institute called SESC. They really love my festival, which is Mostra de Cinemas Africanos in Portuguese. There I translate as Brazil African Film Festival. And well, they really love it, and they have been so supportive in find a way to keep the work going in these different formats that we are facing now, as like, online screenings and security against piracy and all these challenges that we now have to deal with, but in a different way. So for me, it's been, yes, challenging, of course, but also it's a very interesting learning process now, because I actually feel more connected to people who work with African film in different parts of the planet. So I'm here right now. The other day I was with filmmakers from everywhere. So it's really amazing, to be honest. And sometimes I think this is it's forever changing the way we connect to each other. And I really like it. I mean, of course, the physical presence is important, and of course, but right now I feel closer to so many people, closer than I was before. And this paradox is exciting for me. And we are now, I mean, I think more than ever, thinking together about how to keep screening films and connecting with our audiences and connecting with the filmmakers as well, which is so important, because, I mean, right now we don't need to pay for, all these things that we have to do. So it's been very amazing for me. So, I mean, of course, I am speaking of a place of absolute privilege, and I'm trying to make the best of it, of course. We are having our online edition in September this year, and I'm so happy and so grateful that I can make it. I can make it happen. So that's it for now.
Thank you so much. This is so important, because it's the collaboration that we hope will even come out of this conversation and this partnership. Archana, we're going to show your beautiful clip now, and then we'd like you to tell us how things are in India. Justine, could we please show Archana's clip?
झाक पाक करून ठेवली. काहीसे ठेवायला झटकन वळताना आरशाकडे लक्ष गेले. झबकली. आपले रूप आपणच न्याले. बांगड्या उतरवल्या. नंतर गळ्याखालचे एक सर मोकळे केले. पुन्हा आरशासमोर उभी राहिली. स्वतःच्या डोळ्यातील काहीसे पाहून शहारली. गवत पात्यासारखी थरारली. डोळे भरून आले. 40 संपले. शांतपणे तिने मांडलेले गजरे खिडकी खाली सोडून दिले. हे जे आकाश आहे ना, त्याला रंगांचे 4 ब्रश मारायला हवे. तांबडा सूर्यगोल भिलाईच्या धृतपट्टीकडे वळवायला हवा. उपसाकडून समुद्राचा त्याचे सुंदरसे नाव ठेवायला पाहिजे. शेताचे तुकडे झटकून पुन्हा मी हारीने अंथरायला हवे.
Wow. Oh, that is so beautiful, Archana. Tell us about that.
See, this basically is a poem from one of a very renowned poem from Mumbai, and it is about a sex worker, basically. So in India, in culture, prostitutes and eunuchs are being given proper respect, but they are not. There is no legal business of prostitution. Still, women have been suffered, and they have very pretty bad life and very miserable lifestyle. And this pandemic has made it worse. So the span where they go around by 35 or 40, the things become very difficult for them, because then they have lost their youth and now they have abused, and they know. So throughout the life they have been faced lot many difficulties, and there are yet many more to come. So this particular poem is about a realization of a prostitute who realizes that I have crossed my 40, and now all that makeup and drapery and everything is not going to help me, and now I have to be ready for something more. And on the age of all that darkness, she still has hope that she can bear a child and bring some happiness in her life. So I thought that this poem is just metaphorically can be used as a pandemic, because we see, if I always see Mother Earth is being abused by humans, the same way we have been abusing prostitutes. And as they have their hopes, I feel that mankind is going to look for some hope after this pandemic. They are going to learn some lessons and understand how to respect nature and come out of it. Like a creative person, I always keep taking lectures of children, and I keep telling them that whenever adversity comes, we being a creative person, we have to have something uh, which is beyond darkness. We are the ones who should show light to the people who are aimless, or who feel depressed, frustrated. I guess that magic is there with all creative people, because they can see beyond things, see beyond darkness, and we are the ones who have a magic wand to show people some hope. So that's how I have been connecting with creative people from theater, being from theater and film. I am teaching youngsters how to write script, basically, because the most important, we have been in pandemic since last March, and fortunately our government is very they were very alert compared to other states and other countries, and we have been taking precautions quite well. But at the same time, though they have been taking precautions, it has been very traumatizing for kids and parents to be in the house, because I live in Mumbai, and in India there are very few people who are rich. It's like, you can say 80% of people are middle class, and rest of them are very, hand to mouth people, and that
Yeah.
becomes very difficult. Like artists, the way she was saying, in India, the biggest everyone has suffered. Hotel industry has suffered, hospitality has suffered, but
Yes.
the most importantly, artists, from theater because they earn daily basis. They are like daily wages, and theater has never been in India. We have very great culture of theater, but our government has not been supportive to theater or culture the way it should be. And as a result, now we can see they are like absolutely vulnerable because theaters have been closed since February, and there is no hope that they can start it in coming 7 months. And how long somebody can donate and how long somebody can, help you. So I started with the classes wherein they can get to know that they can use their creative skills to put it across, like wisely said by one of our friend, how to teach others, how to use their creativity as a therapy. So I'm teaching some of the artists to train other people who are close by. They can connect on Zoom or WhatsApp video calls and take some classes. So through that network, at least we can bring people together. You can ask them to, or we can, encourage them to come out of their shells, communicate, and let us know how they feel. Because unless and until these kids speak out, parents speak out, we will be having another pandemic of mental illness. And I
Yes.
was more worried about that. So, as a creative person, I started doing this, and I am taking parents' lectures, creative artist lectures, and I'm just making them understand how to use their tools. That's my what do you call it? A small step to fight back and make people aware of that the life is still beautiful.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
Thank you,
that's
Archana. That's absolutely beautiful because even if I didn't understand the language, I felt the performance. And I think the beauty, just it was really beautiful. Thank you so
thank
much. Thank you.
thank you.
Sibongile, our wonderful sis Sibongile, we're going to show your clip first, and then we'd like you to talk to us about this movement that you have created in terms of I'm for the arts and where you think and what you think we ought to be doing. So can we please show Sibongile's clip, Justine?
To Africa, beneath the burning sun, meadows of weary hearts, waiting to be won. Many lives have passed away, and in many hearts there are voices crying now to the living God.
Wow.
Wow.
Where did I lose you?
Thank you.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
I am glad that I didn't sing anything operatic. You know why? Because if we're going to talk about I'm for the arts, then we have to talk about the heart in for the arts. Because the reason why I started the movement was purely out of frustration. South Africa right now, in terms of what we have to offer the world from an artistic perspective and creatives and cultural industries, is gold. We are literally gold. We offer some of the best. You watch what we produce in the movies, you watch what we produce musically, you watch what we have to offer generally. We are gold. The world wants us. Even Beyonce wants our dances. Come on now. Hey, we are gold. South Africa is gold. So I sit here as a South African and I'm looking at us being gold, and our government doesn't recognize what we have. They're not supporting it. We have an entire department of arts and culture with a whole budget for arts and culture that is not reaching the industry. And I'm sitting here, I'm thinking, so you have an entire department that cannot do its job because a politician or an official has felt that it's their place to abuse their power? Oh, hell no. So I decided to start a movement to hold government accountable, to also lobby society and government and the industry itself to actually get up, do something for itself, for artists, by artists, so that we change the playing field and make it possible. You know, we have a terrible history in this country of discrimination. We have a terrible history of apartheid. We have a terrible history of abuse of power based on race, gender, you name it. Abuse has been such an intrinsic part of our culture that it's time to change that narrative. And the only way to do it is to face it head on and say, okay, you evil, whatever you are, let's talk about this. And it became necessary. I think it became important for me to, if I'm gonna sing anything, it cannot be for performance. It's gotta be for impact. What am I trying to say? Why am I trying to say it? What am I hoping that anybody who's listening today will take away? I could sing beautiful notes and they mean absolutely nothing, but I could also sing a beautiful message, literally talking at you via music, or talk to God and say, I'm praying for Africa, because we have so many wonderful resources that are not being looked after because other people have taken advantage of the fact that we don't understand how much power we carry and how much beauty and richness we have. So For the Arts is here to, more than anything, conscientize and make sure that we fix our industries in this country, particularly South Africa, so that the industry is healthy and the practitioners healthier. And I keep saying this, we want the arts to be healthy and the artist to be healthier. So that is what For the Arts is about.
Which is absolutely important. And that is what, as we keep coming back to this issue of sweetness, because even just as you talk, you know the wealth of the richness of what the artist brings to a society. I want us to show the clip right now, Justine, of Johnny Clegg. At the time, in 1987, when he wrote the song and performed it for the Icons, and Madiba was one of them, talking about the fact that we can't see them, but we know them, and we know that they are there.
And at peace with my son. But I don't see much movement at the back there, I would like us to join. Let's just repeat. Let's just repeat it. Okay. Let's just repeat it. Let's all join. I see Bonana. Bonana.
Thank you, Justin. So I don't know if we were a little bit muted there when Madiba actually started to talk, and he was talking about how important music was and the arts and how that really carried them even in their darkest period. But more importantly, we know that Rajani Clegg has passed away. But the relevance and the importance of music, Alvin, I'm coming to you because you are a composer and you tell stories through music. And even the work that you do with Tyler Perry, you know, we spoke earlier on about we have music whether we are happy or sad, whether there's drama or comedy. Tell us about yourself, your work, your wonderful, just 1 minute. Justine, do you have that picture for Alvin? Justine? Let's see if we've got the picture for you, Alvin, before you start. Yes! So I'm not going to say why we have a lizard on the screen. I'm just going to go straight into you, Alvin. Let's go for it. Keith, Alvin came to the Zanzibar International Film Festival last year, and you did not, Keith.
Oh,
so
sorry.
Alvin gets a lizard.
So Keith,
Alvin.
Keith, I went to Zanzibar. You'd be glad that you didn't go, because she put me in a room full of lizards.
This grown-up man was afraid of a little tiny lizard.
It wasn't tiny to me. But no, yeah, so listen, I'm a composer. I started some 30 years ago, maybe. I come from a very humble beginning, playing music in church. And I met this gentleman who was in the choir at my church, who could not sing, but he had big dreams of being a playwright. And the Chitlin Circuit is what we call it. And we partnered together. I provided music for his plays, and I've been on that journey with this gentleman since maybe some 25, 30 years now. That's Tyler Perry. And I've seen him go through the industry from very humble beginnings and having nothing to, building one of the, he's built the largest studio, and from what I'm understanding, in the world. And with that in mind, I've been able to see a lot of many different things from a business side of growing an industry of your own, as he may say, building your own table, to providing a variety of music for all of the productions that he may do. Some of the productions, from theater, like I said, we went from Chitlin Circuit plays, but we also, we did those plays with excellence, if you will. I try to provide more of a Broadway/gospel vibe of music for those plays. We went there, and again, neither one of us had training in any of those areas of our endeavored work. So, he was writing plays and writing movies and scripts and directing with absolutely no experience, and my thought was just to provide, a good quality of music for his production. So when he went to producing film, he took me along with him, and I've done several of his films and all of the TV shows I've scored. So through the pandemic, he's created some 5 new TV shows with this new deal with Paramount. And so I've been working on 5 TV shows during the pandemic. So it's been a very busy time for me this season. However, but we still made time. I still do a lot of Zoom calls and helping out and teaching others, how to dream, because everyone, I believe, have their own level of gifting and talent. But I think that, people oftentimes miss how to dream, and teaching them how to, how to go for and stay the course, you know, and not give up, because the course is not always easy. Even now, it's not always easy. But however, if you can learn how to dream and live through the nightmares, you know, you can also get to levels of success and then help others, you know. So, you know, providing music and is what I do. I'm always articulating and being you know, providing different layers of, you know, like you said, happy, sad, you know, I'm an interpreter, you know, of music. I hope I don't pronounce your name incorrectly, what Simone Gell said, you know, about the heart, you know, oftentimes when you're dealing with different textures of film, TV, and theater, you know, you really have to get into the heart of the director to provide, you know, the interpretation musically, so that what's being felt musically is what you want your audience to feel coming through a performance, if you will, you know. And so, you know, I like to call myself a doctor when I talk with Tyler. You know, I you know, he'll give me something and I'll tell him I'll go to surgery with it, and we laugh about it, that whole thing like that. But, you know, it's been a very interesting time for me in career. So I'm very grateful, and, you know, grateful to be here with you guys. You all are very extremely talented, and I'm honored to be here with you guys today, for sure.
Well, Alvin, we are really grateful that you take the time, because you are very busy, and we're happy to know that you've made 5 films, and you are the rich one at the table, and maybe you'll give us a space.
I am not rich.
This is all tongue in cheek, but on a very positive and serious note, we are grateful because you did come to Zanzibar and you trained young filmmakers and you made them understand the value of music in storytelling, which is really important. And I think the conversation, the reason I wanted you with us tonight was also for us who feel really frustrated and tired and angry, and we're fighting governments and we're fighting ourselves in many ways. What you bring is that positive energy of dreaming, of getting together, just like you, Craig, of finding a way in which these voices have a space and have a place, and that this collaboration, even for us around the Zoom, would be able to take us to another level. So, you know, you get Brazil and India, and then, you know, come to the UK and the US. How do we collaborate? You just see it's just so rich in the collaborative process of what we are doing. And so, Keith, I want to come to you, but just before that, we're going to show a little clip of Banksy, which most of you would know, the artist, and the way in which, you know, he drops art in different places and people don't know why it's there and what it's worth and so on. But, you know, as storytellers, Keith, and the work that you do as a programmer, that you go out looking for films, because in an image, we tell 1,000 words, and how important the creative industries is in the way that we will tell the story of the pandemic. So let's just look at this little clip, Justine, from Banksy, and then we'll have Keith.
Exchange for the Bakery, Jubilee, and Metropolitan Line. The front 2 doors will not open at the next station. Please use the other doors. Once again, the next station is Houston Square.
Thank you. Thank you. I think so impressive in those few minutes that we understand lockdown. And as he says, you won't understand it unless you wear a mask. Keith.
Well, I mean, I'm very impressed with this, with all of you guys, and of course I've got very little to add to what you guys have said, and I can go. I mean, just my story is very brief, because I started in galleries, not film, but in galleries, and of course I used to work at an organization called the Africa Center that introduced me many dimensions about art, literature, and music, and to learn a lot and about the way of looking at things. You know, I'm always very reluctant to call myself a curator. You know, like. And I'm just perhaps a cultural programmer. Maybe it might make sense that way. Curating kind of reminds me the days when I used to run away from, you know, these places that really are of these people. I still call them Africanists, who kind of, they are the hoarders of at British Museum. They're really kind of like, they've got a mission statement. I'm so different from that side of things. So I'm very freed out of that. And of course, when I was working at the Africa Center, I was just so curious of the absence of all of us about where are we at the main table of the conversation, seriously. And I remember when when we're talking about South Africa during apartheid years, when I was a student, then when I got my job just before the end of apartheid, I was very curious about one of the most important artists. I don't think many South Africans know about this. His name was Gerald Sekoto. He was kind of an exile, brilliant artist. And I remember trying to figure out who are these people who are making noises, which a lot of people, most of us don't have. They belong to other galleries, but we don't know. They don't actually speak from, they don't speak to people. They don't, people from their respective countries don't have access to them. I know from India, I've got MF Hussein, for example, a maverick who died here. He's buried 2011. He died here. He was a fantastic guy. He's an artist. And of course, we had from Mozambique, Malangatana Ngwenya, who was inspired by Diogo Rivera, this kind of revolutionary artist. That's when we kind of like said, okay, let's start having a conversation. When you go to Egypt, when you find out about kind of the idea of the alphabet, the moment of actual understanding the vocabulary, if you don't have an ownership of that, you are lost. You're going to emulate the same thing that it was always trying to put you down. So in other words, the repetition of all the knowledge and about what we go to galleries, if we go to museums, if we go to festivals, film festivals, whatever, what we do, you want to introduce a different kind of way of looking at things. And then however it takes, you might not understand it, but the ownership of it is so important. I'm interested in the ownership part of it, because that's a homework that we all have to have. We need to have a homework about this kind of the ownership of what we represent. And this is the question that during this now moment when we are kind of like rethinking and looking and explore different ways of thinking about things. So as I say that I studied at the Africa Center, which was a cultural organization when I was it was one of my first jobs. I remember I brought in the South African artists. Because South Africa at that time had this kind of, given that, the focus, the whole world was actually focusing on South Africa. We had plays like Scenes Where Bansi Is Dead with John Carney and those people. And then I think we had Mbongena Ngema with Woza Albert, for example. Very iconic kind of plays. At the Africa Center, one of the most memorable moments in my life was to see when Ngugi wa Thiong'o meeting Usman Sembène at the Africa Center in Covent Garden. That was at that time, it was kind of like a absolutely amazing stuff. So when Usman Sembène, last time he came to London, when we brought him over here for his screen talk, when he was about to be given the fellowship at the BFI, the British Film Institute, the fellowship. There are two filmmakers, African filmmakers, who have that kind of award. It's Usman Sembène and Suleiman Cissé. So before he accepted the award by the BFI, because he was always looking at the British as a colonialist, he was always anti-colonial, anti-French, anti any awards, anti being given a doctorate, all those so many. So he said to me, I said to him, Satya Jeti Ray has got fellowship, is an Indian. I said, if my friend is there, I'm part of that. That's thinking of the kind of dialogue of people from the South. You know, do you understand? The kind of like, you see, we need to have that kind of like a kind of dialogue that is not part of this kind of hegemonic kind of control over our conversations that we're always trying to, our kids, when you're from Africa, our creative people go and drown crossing the Mediterranean or whatever to go to Pacific to be kind of given something else. But we that conversation in the countries of the South. So that in itself is always encouraging me to actually sort of try to rethink and then reconfigure how can we also become part of own self-criticism as a bridge to these coded languages that we have, either in art, whether it's music, also sometimes we can adapt some music. We can adapt, Sibongile, I love the fact that, because when I remember for the first time, the Berlinale, when he gave one South African film got the Berlinale award, U Carmen, of Georges Bizet's kind of play. And Pauline, how she kind of, the interpretation about that, it's fantastic. People have to learn that. You can adapt, but you can always be in tune with your own reality. Like, of course, Djibril Diop from Senegal, he adopted something, on this film, Hyenas, So I think that we need to be able to suggest that how do we, as a curator, I'm always thinking through how do we provide to audiences that might not know the coded language within myself. Because if you look in some of the films that people kind of like look at, and you know how we use image, sound, light, the drama that is projected by every image might translate to be different from people actually assume what it is.
Yes.
So what you do is that you become an engineer or somebody who say, listen, my grammar, my poetry, the kind of the look that this woman is doing to her son might not necessarily translate to what you assume if you have somebody who's writing for Screen International, for example. It might not, it doesn't work like that. So it means that we need to intervene from time to time when some people they do it very well. They're not bad people. In 1987, Richard Attenborough went to Zimbabwe to shoot a film called Cry Freedom. So when he came back, he brought Zimbabwean stone sculptures and lots of them, big. This is my country. I was born in Zimbabwe. Huge pieces of, and then they were there in his garden. So of course, they were just buying them, but they do not know what those sculptures, they label them. So he just saw some piece of work and so he calls it Hippo Man. I said, who is the artist? He could not remember the artist. So this is what happens. This is what happens kind of because they got money. So we are full of this kind of things that have been kind of, that are all over us, that they still have to be given their names coded in such a way that we begin to understand how, complex we have in our grammars, in our knowledge. It's not a kind of like suddenly we don't have any, because that was the whole idea about a colonial legacy. You destroy every meaningful anything that is about, and then you introduce something else. The example about India, look at about India, how to appropriate India can be an example as a kind of super, super, super class about everything else. And the partition, whatever happened, if you can see the memory of those kind of garage and about what happened, you know, it is those kind of eminence of things that really seem to me that we still, as a cultural activists or people kind of like who really feel that, you know, sort of we are losing the moment when we should be really having a technical responsibility. We all have to have a collective responsibility of what's going on. I'm not going to be a victim of anybody else because it's happening in my world. So that's it. That's what I'm interested in, kind of the work that I do. So you know, when I'm always kind of working in the BFI, all these festivals that I've done in the past, it's just, I'm always feeling I'm intervening because you want to correct certain kind of attitude that they always have held over, generations. And I don't, you know, so sorry, I'm going to conclude now. So that's what it's all about. So I'm a curator with passion about something, which is not necessarily meaning that I am just, asked to go and put a film from Congo or somewhere else, and then just kind of, you know, somebody might have seen it because it was it's a film that people say, oh, it's first film from the DRC, which is in Cannes, so that I should be excitable about that because they're coming from a different point of view of whatever they think. It might be good, but it might not necessarily mean address all these issues that I've been talking about. That's it.
Thanks, Keith. So I think, you know, the discussion today is really about that kind of sweetness that each of us in the work that we do. So Keith, in your work as a curator, it is a sweetness, it's a cherry on the top because it's something special that you want to make sure the interpretation and the coding thereof is accepted and understood by a very different audience. Sibongile, we're almost coming to the end of this conversation, and I wanted you here very much because you are an icon in South Africa. You are an important voice, but you're also an important performer. And I don't know if you feel like it, if there is a moment in you that wants to share that voice from an artist's point of view. I'm asking you very nicely, whether, you know, because I think it's how does Alvin, where he sits, and the work that he does, or Craig, where he sits, how do they get to know you, if not through a conversation like this, that then begins to peak up and say, you know, there is opportunity for collaboration. There is an opportunity for partnership, because I think as we sit in our boxes, we feel very frustrated, very alone, sometimes angry. But it is, I'm hoping that the cherry, that the burfi, that the sweetness, that the jalebi, Archana, is something that we can, you know, bring together. Because also for you in Brazil, for you to connect with Keith, it's these connections, you know, the garam masala that mixes it up. So Sibongile, do you feel like it? Would you like to share more the opera side of who you are?
You see, where I live, it's a very strange place where I can't really be singing opera at this hour. My neighbors will kill me or probably call the cops on me. But I'll try and sing at a lower range. Maybe not soprano. Usually I would actually say no because I charge to sing, but because I'm a nice person, I won't say no. I do believe that I've got something to say. I believe that I've got something to say, and I do believe that this gold has got to be discovered. If nothing else, people must know that we have been educated and we have honed our craft, and we are proud of it. We are not afraid to say we are that great. And anytime you ask, we will do it, and we will do it with excellence. So maybe, let me see. Our Father, which which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy will be done. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. So I'm taking it a little bit lower than I would normally because, you know, I can't be too loud here.
Beautiful.
Oh, that is just so beautiful. So, Craig, are you still there? Because I see your name, but I don't see you. Craig? Yay.
You're on mute,
You're on
Craig.
mute. You're on mute. We can't
All
hear
right.
you.
For you to be saying that you just sang it in your lower register, you killed it.
So Craig, I'm giving you a job. You've got to look out for Sibongile, and you've got to make something happen with that big fat, what did you say? Events you are hosting in garages and in open spaces, and wherever they are. We want money.
That's funny. Well, come on, sister. Come
I
on.
want to thank you all for this wonderful chat. We're about to end, and we're closing with the song that I told you that is entitled Stand Together. It is sung by a group of African young artists. They launched it on Mandela Day. It talks to the pandemic and says that we all need to be together and we all need to get through this pandemic. I want to thank you really, really so much for being with us today. It was really important. Alvin, I know you're on a flight in a few hours, so thank you for giving us your time and being with us. Archana lost her cousin, and so condolences to you, Archana.
It was my pleasure. It was my pleasure being with you. I enjoyed. It was wonderful to share my views and listen to all you. So I've learned a lot. So we'll be connected. I'm very glad to get connected to you. Thanks. Thank you, Firdaus. Thank you, Kate.
Archana,
Okay.
don't go yet. Don't go yet. Anna, would you like to say a last word or sentence?
I would like to say one thing that was so important that Sibongile mentioned about, you know, being paid for what she does. This is so important. It's so obvious, but we need to say that all the time, you know, especially now that people expect from us that, you know, give everything for free all the time online. So I keep saying that to the artists that work with me. It's your art, but it's your work, you know, it's your business, it's your life. So yeah, you should, you know, charge for that. So important. And thank you so much. I just loved hearing all of you.
I would like to just share one thing, Firdaus.
Sure.
Yeah. We artists, we have started performing small skits or you can say monologues of 45 minutes, and we are doing it online. So we are selling tickets online. So those who have been, you know, sitting at home and getting depressed. So we started with this small kind of, you know, you can say venture. It's not commercial, but at least there is some support to the people. And we are focusing, because since we are in pandemic and we can't go out, what we are organizing is we are asking them to perform on mobiles, and we are going to show it to a number of audience online. So you also can you know, connect your people and make them perform like that. It is
You know what would be good, Archana, is on the F show, on the link, just put in your information, so people, if they see the show and they want it, we can get get the information out. We will do that with the other artists as well. So please do that. Craig, would you like to say something before we go?
Yeah, I'll say two things. One, rappluglive.com That's where we have live content, and it's a good place to find out and learn things about our industry. Also, I agree with the lady that said we should be monetizing with the arts because people have to survive. So that's another thing that we offer is live streaming, where we can film you and we can create an opportunity for you to make money with your art through Rap Plug Live, and I'll make sure it's on the Facebook as well.
Yes, please.
Yes,
Please.
and the other thing I wanted to mention was that, and I know you didn't know this, but I've just gotten over COVID-19 myself personally.
Oh.
And for the last 18 days, I was in the bed. And so I just want to remind everyone to take care of themselves in every way possible. Whatever we all know what we're supposed to be doing at this point, but as a survivor, I just want to speak to it as a creative and as a survivor, how hard it was to go through. And I'm so grateful to God every day that I'm able to have this conversation without wanting to fall down and go to sleep, because for the last few days, every time I talk 10 minutes, I want to go back to sleep. So it's just amazing to even be able to sit through this call. And I thank God for every breath in my body. And I just wanted to say that out loud because I know someone out there needed to hear that.
Thank you. We needed to
very
hear
much.
that. My brother and his wife were both COVID positive, and we were really very worried about them. But thank goodness they are also fine right now. Alvin,
Yes.
would you like to say something?
I would like to say you all are very amazing and very needed in this time to continue to give, encouragement to the world. You never know what your seed and what you're depositing into people will birth something amazing globally. You just never know. You're all very necessary. I'm praying for you, Craig. Hopefully we can connect here in Atlanta sometime soon. I look forward to working with the opera singer that sings in our lower register with amazing. But hopefully we can all become a global team, and work on something together someday collectively. Again, you all are very amazing. I love Firdaus. She's always going to be a part of me and her and Faith. And thank you so much for having me. Unfortunately, I do have to run and get on a flight, but I think you guys are amazing. We'll connect soon.
Thank you so much, Alvin.
Same here.
You're welcome.
Sibongile, are you okay? Sibongile?
Yeah, I'm good.
You want to say something else?
I just want to say thank you so much for this platform and for highlighting what is going on around the world, because we know of each other, but we never really get to talk to each other. So this pandemic has been a blessing in disguise in that it has brought us closer to each other. We have met people we wouldn't normally have met, and I think that is great. So thank you so much for bringing us together tonight. And from I'm for the arts in South Africa particularly, please guys support us everywhere, wherever you are. Raise the flag of South African artists and the creative industries, because the artists are suffering in this country.
Keith?
Well, thank you, Sibongile. I mean, you're one of several Sibongile. I know there's something about the name that produces singers. I know Sibongile Khumalo, for example, and of the music, and of course, thank you, Firdaus, for putting this together, and wish Craig all the best. Now he's gone, but all of you, thank you so much. Nice meeting you on this platform, and let's oh yes, Craig, yes. Keep strong, my brother, and and then I'll tell you one thing that you should do for me personally. You guys from United States, please go and vote out this person or these people we are refusing to wear masks and things like that. Please, that would be becoming such a basic, that's without goes without saying. And go and vote, be active, make sure that everyone is safe, and encourage that, so that at least young people follow the example that these things are necessary to be worn, and then prevention. That's thank you for sharing your personal story that way. And you guys, thank you from Brazil, from India. One day we meet, and let's share our connection if we can. And I'll perhaps write some more and share
all on
with
the
you
F show.
more
We'll
stories.
be all on the F show
All
and
right.
the
All right, good.
continuation of this connection. Before
All
you
right.
leave, we're going to play out the beautiful song. Thank you, Justine. Can you please play the last song for us? Lots of love to everybody. Thanks for being with us
Thank
tonight.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Everything is changed nowadays. But now we can't even play no more. It was only yesterday when we party every day. Now it's blood on the dance floor. All because of the virus. But it can't kill the power inside us. We stand together and defeat Corona. And now we work hard together. And in good hanya. تبع فيك شيء لكل قلب نرد شوية إن شاء الله إن شاء الله. Cause nobody is safe until everybody's safe. So I mean, I don't let that wish out. I can't totally shit out. You come back and give it up. You should let go of it. So let me love about it. Ya como sale wengine tafadhali sijinde swalinde tuamue sasa my people. One day we'll be celebrating cause this plague is over. Nothing will be separating us cause nobody is safe until everybody is safe. Everybody is safe. Raining no go fall forever. Sun goes to shine, my sister. We go beat Corona if we stand together. If we stand in solidarity, we don't go be too far down, far down. Me, I like you and I know you like me too. Me, I love you and I know you love me too. We gonna spread the word. I'm not divided, so nobody safe until everybody's safe. Me, I want to be safe. Yeah. Oh, baby, bush and cheese. Feels like Coachella sleeves. Pick up the pieces, start over. The tears will be all over. Any minute will be much closer. For now, inspiration. One day, my people. One day we celebrate cause this day is over. Nothing will be separating us. Nobody is safe until everybody is safe. One day, my people, we will celebrate cause this day is over. Nothing will be separating us. Nobody is safe.
Okay, so thank you so very, very much, everybody.